Hi there, Andy Ron here with Montana Land Source with this week's video summary of the Montana Land Report for December 22nd, 2021. We are getting close to the end of the year here of 2021, and it is a year for the record books for the Montana land market. Just an unbelievable year in terms of volume, in terms of pricing. Just an incredible year, and there's been some high-profile transactions just within the last week or so in the market. One I want to talk about is the 73 Ranch up in north central Montana. I had written and talked about this ranch back in August. It was proposed to be acquired by the Bureau of Land Management, but through the appraisal process, it did not appraise as high as the sellers wanted at that time, and that deal fell through. And I published a blog post in August about that, getting into the dynamics of those requirements of those federal appraisals and why that property came in low like it did. And there's just fascinating conversation. So that was the American Prairie Foundation, which is a nonprofit conservation organization that ended up purchasing this property just this week. And that organization is controversial. They've purchased almost 500,000 acres in total up in that area, and are putting together a kind of a Buffalo Commons Park type deal. That's their nonprofit mission. And there's just interesting conversation about what defines a market. And when you have a buyer like that in the marketplace, do they define the market? And that's an open question in terms of how many properties they actually buy, but their influence on the market is undeniable. And that gets into some issues with those federal appraisals, because to some extent, federal appraisals are blocked from using those kind of transactions because they're conservation transactions and not always considered true open market transactions. But again, comes into a rhetorical debate about when a market becomes a market. If conservation as a highest and best use defines a local area in terms of purchases, is that not now the market? So interesting issues there, but again, that property did not go to the BLM and is now acquired by the American Prairie Foundation. There's also been two major properties in Park County, Montana, the Dome Mountain Ranch and the Hayhook Ranch, both in the rough neighborhood of $40 million listed properties that just closed in the last week or so. So we're just seeing incredible turnover of these large ranches, large high value ranches. 2021 is going to set a record for transactions overall and dollars spent overall. You know, the record's been broken twice in 2021 for highest priced property ever to sell in Montana. First was the CA, the Climbing Arrow Ranch, sold by Swan there in the Bozeman area. And then the second was the Matador, the Beaverhead Matador Ranch over in Dillon, Beaverhead County area. So just an incredible year. Again, do check out on Montana Land Source, mtlandsource.com. We have live market stats updated every day, and the stats are dramatic as to this market. We're in the lowest inventory probably in history, modern history, for the Montana land market. We're down 72% right now from 2 years ago. That's just incredible. Number of sales in 2021 is up 30% from this time last year, up 40% from 2 years ago. So just an incredible market again. As far as the last week in the market goes, there were 22 property updates, 6 pendings, 2 price changes, and 14 sales. So no new listings here as we go into the end of the year. Yet, 20 properties leaving or potentially leaving the market. So that's just what we've seen all year long. And it's hard to say where this will end and where it will end up. One last note on that is often at the change of the year, sometimes you see a flurry of buying or transactions that are urgent to get done because of either actual or perceived changes in tax code or that kind of thing. And what I'm hearing over and over from most brokers and buyers is that there is not a lot of anxiety as far as that goes, that things are going to be stable in 2022 in terms of tax policy in general. So not a lot of flurry, so to speak, at the end of the year or the transition of the year, but nonetheless, just uncertain times in the market and a crazy market time. That's it for the report this week. I guess one last thing is there is an upcoming event in February that I'm part of where we will do a market presentation on the closing of the year 2021 and moving forward. So that's the Winter Real Estate Roundup. That's on the events page at mtlandsource.com. 2 or 3 days of continuing education for real estate industry professionals and interesting content for anyone interested in the Montana land market. Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful and safe Christmas and holidays, and we will see you next week.